Hey, this is Jennifer, and I just want to show you a couple of forms you might want to put together at the beginning of a class, either a semester or a full year, depending on when your class changes, to gather information from your students so that you can use it later in some forms that we're going to talk about that will make your life so much easier. So I'm just using a basic Google form. I went to my Drive, set up a Google form. I named it student information. I'm going to make sure that that's the name of the file. I added a name and an email, the short answer text, so they just type it in. And then I'm going to go to my little preview so I can see what that looks like. Of course, I could change the colors if I wanted, but not important. And I'll probably use my goo.gl shortener to just give me a shortened URL or a QR code to share that with my students. So I would do this first period, and I would have my students type in, answer their name. So let's do Sally Jones is in this first period class. And she submitted. And then we have Todd Cantu in this first period class as well. And he submits his response. And then we're going to have Zachary. And so I've got all my students in my first period class. Of course, you're probably looking at much more than 3 students. Fill out this information. So if I come back to that original Google form, you see that my responses, I have 3 responses. I can select that, and I can kind of gauge and see what those responses are. But we want to go ahead and set up a spreadsheet to collect that information. So I'm going to create a spreadsheet. I want it to be called student information, and I'm going to select create. So notice I'm creating a new spreadsheet called student information. So that was first period. Now I want more information from, say, second period. So rather than create a new Google form from scratch, I'm going to go to where I see the form. It's here in my most recent folder in my Google Drive, and I'm just going to select that and make a copy. And when it creates a copy, it's going to duplicate that exact same form. So here's my form. It's called copy of, but I could rename it because now this is student information second period. So I'm going to rename it second period, student info. And so I have a new, fresh form to use for second period. I would do this for each of my class periods. So second, third, fourth, fifth. So you're collecting new data with each class period. So here's second period. I again would share it with my students, either with the QR code or the shortened URL, and they would get to put in their information. So this period I have Betty Smith, and she'll submit. And then we also have Kim Thomas in this class. Of course, most of the time you'll have more than a few students. So we have all of them finish it up. So then I'm going to have this second period responses. I could again look at them this way. But what I want to do instead is I want to take and put them to a spreadsheet. But instead of creating a brand new spreadsheet, I'm going to select an existing spreadsheet. And I'm actually going to select the spreadsheet I was building before called student information. So this is where the first period information went. I also want to send second period there. So when it opens up, here's my information from second period. But if you will look at the bottom, you'll notice second period has responses 2, but if I go back to the responses 1, here's my first period people. So if I use that little drop down arrow on the tabs at the bottom, I can rename this particular tab second period. I can rename the other tab first period, and then I can put all of my information into one spreadsheet. I can click and drag those around if I want them in the order that my actual classes are. This is a very cool tool for collecting data across all your classes, but putting it all in one spreadsheet at the end so that you aren't looking for multiple spreadsheets with this information. This is what I would suggest that you do at the beginning of each class, each course that you are teaching, because then we can use this with some other Google add-ons that will make life so much easier than you having to type in and maybe mess up on emails and names. So collect the data by putting it in Google Forms and then put all of those into the same spreadsheet so that we can use it later. Have a great day.